everybody, welcome back to another brand new movie review. Now this one is for Monkey Man. Dave Patel's Monkey Man. I mean, oh yeah. Now this is a great sample when Patel meets filmmaking. So Patel's directorial debut here is not only is in an action movie which is insanely difficult on its own, but this movie has had quite the production. It was during the COVID lockdown and lost funding and had to get a bag. He broke his hand while filming. There were cameras broken. He had to resort to iPhone and GoPros for certain scenes. Was originally with Netflix before Jordan Peele and his production company brought it to Universal. And Dev Patel had surgery on his hand and then kept filming and fighting the next day, which again proved his dedication to this film. Now, I think that some part of this movie are messy. I will call those parts messy visually and structurally. This is not a perfect movie by any means, and I know it might sound like I'm giving this movie a pass, and I don't think I am. But I like this movie, flaws and all, because the messiness of the movie that I just talked about made this movie feel so alive. I'm not trying to sound corny here, but I could see and feel this movie's heartbeat. For example, there's a lot of shaky cam in the beginning of this movie during the fight scenes, and sometimes it can be little hard to follow, and then you keep watching, and then later in the movie when he's considerably much better fighter, it's more steady, less cuts, longer takes, and I just love that. For a first time director, Dave Patel has very good instinct, and I like that for him. I mean, I think he's incredibly talented. Now, the movie tries to balance a lot on its play. I mean, it's a revenge movie, class divide, there's politics there, along with the big action set pieces, and I feel like each one of those aspects on its own separate strain, and I feel like I could feel and see the movie trying to turn those separate strings into one, if that makes sense. As I say, it's not perfect, but it's compelling the whole time on all different aspects. And as someone who loves the genre, okay, I've been around enough people who aren't too crazy about action movies, right? And as someone who listens, I can still understand this take where some people are like, hey, the action, like, sometimes it can just be too much. If there's like too much action, it starts being impressive, and it actually just kind of gets boring to them. And this is probably a something more common, where in action movies the main character you just don't really care about, right? You're just there to see the spectacle. You don't really care about the character. Well, I don't think you'll find that problem in this movie. I think this is a great balance of action and story, and not action to keep the audience engaged throughout, but not too much where you overload them. So when the third act comes in, it feels big, and you also care about Dave Patel's character. They build up his backstory, you understand what they did to him, you're ready to go, right? It all can be so simple. I care so much about his character that it really get to the point where I was sitting there, and this is not a spoiler, but you know when in action movies the main guy will be fighting the bad guys, and sometimes the main guy will let one of them go, right? And he'll show mercy on them, right? Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. I, I, I kid you not. I sat back in the theater and I was like, let Dev Patel's character kill all those bad guys in a very horrible ways. Because if he lets one of them go, oh, I will be extremely mad. And that brings me to the action. I mentioned earlier how the cinematography of the movie kind of changed based on his ability of fighting. It's a very visual type of filmmaking, especially in the beginning. As I mentioned, I think that a lot of that is actually credit to the travel production. I did notice some of the iPhone scenes. It's not long or distracting or anything like that. And there's cameras just attached to ropes at it. Just feel like they're just swinging and praying that not he. And it just feel and but I like it just makes me appreciate this movie a lot more. It feels so electric, and then you get to the third act, and that's incredible. I'm so impressed with how the third act specifically is shot and choreographed. It just has some of the best kills, right? And it has that juice. It has those moments. Kills that make the audience audibly whines. It has good music and it has good energy and it just goes so hard. And sometimes that's all you need to say. It just goes hard. You leave the theater completely satisfied. Now look, I know we get a lot of revenge movies, right? A lot of them are perfectly fine or good, or a lot of them has very good action scenes or whatnot, and it can be sound on par with Monkey Man as I'm describing it, but this movie is just infused with so much culture, and it's that culture that just undeniably helps this movie succeed. Not only because you can see the passion in every single frame, but the culture adds layers to what it could be a very simple and thin revenge plot. I feel like most revenge movie is always the same. Like there's like an earpiece in this dude's head, and he's like, "Yeah, okay, we got to go get him." Like I see him, and they're waiting, and I don't do it, and then they take the earpiece off, and they do it. They throw it away, and they do it anyway. Now, I I don't know where that came from. That might be very accurate, but not only as Dave Patel's character wants revenge, but he sees the system that is in place in India. He sees how people are treated. The way he hustles is very specific to him. Even his quick shots of people cooking and quick insert shots of the food, like even that, I was like, that is important to have in this movie. Dave Patel's direct this movie as someone told him, this is the last chance you have to direct and you will never do it again. And he directs this movie like that. I see this movie and I see someone put this whole being into his whole passion, everything, his culture, whatever. But also, he just goes all out because why wouldn't you? At the very least, I will always respect somebody taking a swing like that. And like I said, this movie is not perfect, okay? Aside from some of the sloppiness, like there are characters that are just completely silent after the introduction, and parts of the movie feel like it loses its space, like for sure. But this is why I go to the movies, and thank God Jordan Peele saw something in this movie which proved he has an eye for talent. Because I cannot imagine like this movie going to Netflix and people like have watching it on the TV at home. I think it would have not been good. But overall, I got to say, Dev Patel created a movie that I really want to see again. He make a very great action movie, fun action sequences, cool visuals, and also a very interesting character that you really like to follow throughout the course of the movie throughout. And also very important, the culture here really, like I say, elevates this movie a lot. It makes the story a lot more compelling and very interesting. So I think this is, if you like great action movies like John Wick and that sort of action movies where a very interesting character and a very compelling story, I mean, you're going to really enjoy Monkey Man a lot. I really had a great time watching this movie. I think, like I said, it's not perfect, but it's really top action movie. So if you enjoy this video, hit the like button, consider subscribe to the channel, and thank you for watching. Bye bye.